Hello, my name is Timeless. Let's see, I'm quite caught up here. What's going on here? Here we go. All right. My name is Timeless, and my little presentation is called The Prophet, based on Hildebrand's The Prophet, written 100 years ago, which takes place in a little town where an old man who's kind of lived in the shadows for his life comes out, presents himself to the world to ask him questions, and also that he should speak about the things that he has learned before he leaves the world. Seems appropriate for me. And tonight I wanted to speak about truth. You know, people think that there isn't truth, and I don't blame them. They've been taught about the Big Bang Theory, which is basically we don't know what happened. We don't know what started the world. And evolution, which is we don't know, but we're here and we see apes, they look like us, and we have this theory we came from the apes. Both of these things are not true. And I mean, one could go on and on about all the things that we were taught that are just so important to life. You know, even about God, that God is spiritual. Everything we've been taught. Put all the, as Bob says, put all the truths together and it makes up one big lie. But there is truth. And how do we know truth? What is truth? So in Hebrew, truth is emet, aleph mem taf. And one of the things about truth, about the three letters aleph mem tet, is the aleph is the first letter of the alphabet. The mem is the middle letter of the alphabet, and the taf is the last letter of the alphabet, as if to say that truth must be complete, must have a beginning, an end, a middle, and it's all true. It can't be just the middle's true, but the way it presents itself or what's really behind it or not true. Every aspect has to be true, which reminds me of another book, the Magister Ludai, the glass bead game, was written, after the Second World War by Hermann Hesse. He got the Nobel Prize for this, and it presupposes a place that has it's a place of intellect. And they bring people there, they teach children there, and people gather there once a year, and they have their game. The glass bead game. And the glass bead game is how they all try to figure out intellectually how everything can fit together. And they take different requirements each year. That's the master of the game, what's he called? The Magister Ludai, yes. He's the master, he's the one who makes the game. But this is really true just in general. That, a person says, what is truth? Where is the truth? Well, the answer is, is relatively simple. Everywhere. Everywhere is the truth. Why is everywhere the truth? Because it wasn't a big bang that started it. It wasn't something that came out of nothing which began this, but rather how nothing was created out of something. God and the light of God, within the light of God is where creation is harbored. And it means that we're constantly surrounded by light, as opposed to common theories of constantly being surrounded by darkness. And why would, certainly if a person had a choice, which would you rather accept as your reality? Light would be preferable to darkness generally. Well, why is it that they push darkness? Because if a person is in that mind frame where really life has no meaning whatsoever, then they're more easily manipulated. So if you need someone to do a job and the person feels like they have no worth, the job gives them worth, and we see that certainly in our country. That most people define themselves by what their job is, but really it should be the opposite. That we should really define ourselves, and our work should be a what's the word I want, an expansion, an extension, a manifestation of really who we are. And but and everyone would do that if we all understood that God created the world and God loves all of us, and each one of us is here for a purpose, and our purpose in life is to take who we are, to manifest who we are in a way that we can be proud before God. That's what we should be doing. And if we understood that, and we understood we were surrounded by light, and someone said, hey, I need you to do this job, no thanks, man. Because even though you might be able to pay me in this world, but in the next world, I'll be embarrassed. I'll go there and say, what'd you do with your time? I worked for this dude. I made a lot of money. It really is meaningless. It's certainly in the larger scope of things, and only for people who doubt that there is a world after this world, that there is continuity in the creation, that person just feels, I die, I'm dead, that's it. Might as well have fun while I'm here. And he's being deluded. And the way that we know that is because there is form, there is a pattern in creation. And this pattern is known to the Kabbalists as the tree of life. And these are 10 sphirot, Esher sphirot, 10 sphirot, 10 luminaries. And these 10 luminaries are seen in the sun and the 9 planets. And one might ask, well, the Kabbalah was written down like 500 years ago. No one knew about the 9 planets then. They only knew about 7 planets: Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, maybe Uranus, maybe not. Maybe I know 6. That's what they knew was 6. And so how did the Kabbalists know this? Well, they knew it because it's written in the Zohar. It was written 2,000 years ago. A very clear explanation of how we came from the Garden of Eden, which is just beyond the Kuiper Belt, and passed through these worlds, and describes each world, describes the world that we know as Pluto as being so far in the darkness that the sun is not seen there. And only until the next world is the sun seen like a star. And only then in the third world, which would be Uranus, is the sun seen very far away, but the rays of the sun really, you can see it enveloping Uranus. And they knew about this. How did they know about this? And everyone's how they knew it, because the further back you go, the more light there was, and there were people who wrote down books. Much of this has been lost, but These guys were very smart, and they passed things on, and they wrote down codes, and much of this survived. As far as Rebbe Shimon 2,000 years ago wrote the Zohar, and not only that, but also that the earth is in the form of the 10th sphere, also being in the 7 continents and the 3 oceans. And of course, the human being were all made in the 10th sphere, and that they were made in 3 triangles: the triangle of the head, the 2 hemispheres of the brain and the 3rd eye, and the triangle of the body, the 2 arms and the torso, and the triangles of the legs and the sex. And then speech is 10. And even more than that, the Torah, which also comes out of the 10 commandments, and these were engraved in a stone, in a cube, and all the way through. And there you can see 5 commandments on one side and 5 on the other. It's a complete miracle. And all the shards from the engraving from the finger of God made all the letters that would go into the Torah. And in that way, the entire Torah is in the 10 commandments. And our world is 10 based. And why is that? Because the light of the Creator, it has infinite sphirot. But because God wanted to be known in low, so our whole trip here is in 10 sphirot, meaning really our solar system. Beyond our solar system is a whole different thing, but in our solar system it is 10 based. And if anyone needs even more proof than that this is a pattern, that is not something that just happened randomly. It's not like if it was a little bigger, it would blot it out. If it was a little smaller, it just wouldn't be an eclipse. It'd be a partial eclipse. But this is perfect, and only the Creator could have done that. These are signs that this did not happen randomly. That this was a creation made by the Creator. And the only question is, and really the only question that really stands after all these almost 6,000 years, is where is the Creator? And the answer, of course, is the Creator is everywhere, all the time, to everybody. The meaning of the famous Jewish prayer, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, that God is one. And why do we call God one? Not because of monotheism. That's not written anywhere in the Torah, monotheism. What is written is that we live in duality. Everything is male and female. Everything, either it goes out or it goes in. Everything, even the atom, everything works like this. And so we call God one because God is not of creation. And just in the same way, there is no one in creation. So by the virtue of being one, so the Creator is able to be everywhere to everyone, which is what the Creator wants, is to be acknowledged and to be related to by each of us personally, to have our own personal relationship with the Creator, that we're here to do a certain thing. We're trying to figure it all out, and we make mistakes, and we say we're sorry, and we want to go on and try to be better. And this is a constant dialogue we should be having with the Creator, not with some other person, not with your psychologist or your religious person or whatever it is. We should be having this relationship with the Creator because that's what the Creator wants. So, anyways. Enough said. Doesn't seem like anyone's even watching this telecast, but I'm just going to keep doing this because who knows. Anyways, I thank you for watching.